Good morning, everyone. So, in this video, we are going to start pressure and its measurement. We are basically discussing the problems in fluid mechanics. So, previous four videos were about properties of fluids. So, we have discussed few properties of the fluid, and then uh, based on those properties, we have solved some basic level problems. Again, in this video, we are going to start a new topic, that is pressure, and then we will be discussing the small concepts and then problems, very basic level problems based on those concepts. So we're starting with pressure. So basically, pressure term is defined only for solids, sorry, is defined only for liquids and gases but not for solids. So pressure, the first thing that you should know, is defined only for liquids and gases. Now, pressure is nothing but force per unit area. As you all already know, it is nothing but the intensity of the force on a particular area. But there is one way in which this definition of force per unit area goes wrong, because for pressure, already direction is predefined. So pressure is not any force per unit area, but it is normal compressive force per unit area. So what do I mean by normal compressive force per unit area? Suppose this is a surface, be it any surface of a liquid or a gas. So whatever is the normal force on it, so suppose there is a force at some particular angle. So this force can be resolved into two components, vertical and horizontal. So whatever is the vertical, or whatever is the force which is perpendicular to that area, that is normal force. And compressive means it will be compressing the surface, not like causing any pull. Uh, it will be acting in this direction, that is towards the surface area. So pressure is always normal compressive force per unit area. Let's say this is area A. So normal compressive force per unit area is pressure. So you can note down pressure is, so I think from now onwards you should not say force per unit area, because there is one more term that we use force per unit area, that is stress. Even that is wrong. At times it is asked in interviews and all, what is the difference between pressure and stress. So always remember, pressure is normal compressive force per unit area, whereas stress is internal resisting force per unit area. So stress is a internal resistance and pressure is the external application. So this is also one major difference between pressure and stress. Both are force per unit areas, but for pressure, direction is predefined. For stress, it can be any direction. So stress again will be a quantity having a direction, but pressure will be scalar. Why pressure is scalar? Because already direction is predefined. So please note down, pressure is normal compressive force, normal compressive force per unit area. Now, what are the units in which we measure pressure? So there are many units for pressure. So force is basically measured in newtons and area SI unit will be meter square. So one very basic unit will be Newton per meter square, and this is also called as Pascal. It is also called as Pascal. So 1 Newton per meter square is equals to 1 Pascal. But it is a very small unit of pressure. So what we do is, here one more thing that you should know, it's a scalar quantity. Pressure is a scalar quantity. Scalar and vector, if you remember, scalar is a quantity which only has magnitude. Vector is a quantity which has magnitude plus direction. So another unit for pressure could be, because Pascal is a very small unit, so sometimes we use kilopascal. megapascal. Then one more important unit that is called 1 atm. So 1 atm is nothing but 1 atmospheric pressure. It is equals to 101.325 kilopascal. So this is one important thing that you should remember. 1 atm is nothing but 101.325 kilopascal. This kilopascal should be written together like it is kPa. Now what is this 1 atm? 1 atm is nothing but, suppose this is the earth and around this is our atmosphere. So whatever pressure is exerted by atmosphere, whatever pressure is exerted by atmosphere on us, that is nothing but atmospheric pressure. So we all are under atmospheric pressure, and with the height, as we go up pressure, this pressure decreases. So if you are on, let's say, in a plain area, and if you are at the peak of a mountain, so you will find the difference in pressure, because as you go up, the height of the atmosphere that is there above you will be less. And we'll see how pressure is related to depth or height, how it varies with height, that we'll look at. So here what you should know, the pressure which is atmosphere is exerting on us, that is 1 atmospheric pressure, and it is equals to 101.325 kilopascal, or I can also write it as 1.01325 into 10 to the power 5 pascal. So this is a very basic thing that I have done, just written in the form of kilo is 10 to the power 3. Kilo means 10 to the power 3 pascal. Mega means 10 to the power 6 pascal. There is one more thing, 10 to the power 5 pascal. Obviously it can be 10 to the power 7, 8, anything. But 10 to the power 5 pascal pressure is also known as 1 bar. So I can write here 1.01325, and this can be written as 1 bar. So from here I can develop a relationship between 8 atm and bar. So 1 atm is equals to 1.01325 bar. This much pressure. Okay. Now there are some other units like PSI, that is 1 pound per square inch, or 1 torr. There is one more way in which I express pressure, that is in terms of height. Which height? In terms of height of piezometer. So afterwards, when we look in the pressure measurement, we will see that we measure pressure in terms of pressure head. What is that? Suppose there is a pipeline. Okay, so we are looking at the front view of this pipeline. So from the front, when you want to measure the pressure, there is a tube sort of a thing, glass tube sort of a thing that you insert in it, and what will happen, this is open to atmosphere because the pressure is high in this pipeline. Suppose this pipeline is full of some liquid. As soon as you insert a glass tube, due to pressure difference, here pressure is high, here pressure is low, so it will rise. Pressure always, like water always, or any liquids, will flow from high pressure to low pressure. So it will be immediately rising up in this glass tube. It will be immediately rising up. If the pressure is high here, only then. Okay. So in that case, whatever is the height of this liquid which is there in this glass tube is basically piezometer. So whatever is the height, that is called pressure head. So sometimes pressure is expressed in terms of height of the water column or height of any fluid column. So you can write pressure is also expressed as height of fluid column. So in strength of material, basically we do not use this pressure term because we deal with the solid bodies. So here in liquids and gas we use pressure, in solids we use stress for force per unit area. Now So as I said, so suppose I can write the pressure as 10 meters of water, or I can say it as maybe like 75 mm of Hg. Later we'll see how much pressure is there in terms of Pascal or kilopascal due to this height. So what I am trying to say is there are different sets of units for pressure. Depending on the, like for example, when the pressure is low, I can use a smaller unit, but usually Pascal is a very small unit. So in that case, I am going for a higher units. For example, here in terms of ATM, in terms of bar, at times pressure is also expressed as height of the fluid column in the piezometer. So let me be particular in piezometer. Piezometer is a pressure measuring device. As of now, you just consider this, and then pressure is expressed of like 75 mm Hg, or you might have seen this atmospheric pressure is 750 mm Hg. So what we look into that. Now we'll discuss very important law in related to pressure, that is Pascal's law and hydrostatic law. So let's discuss two very important laws. So this is Pascal's law and Pascal's law, and then we'll discuss hydrostatic law. So as the name suggests, Pascal's law was given by Pascal. What does it say? So basically Pascal's law applies to fluids at rest. And what does it say? It says that in any fluid, suppose let's take a container. So Pascal, I'm not going to go into the derivation because we are basically going to discuss only the problems, but even then I am discussing some small concept at a very basic level. So what does it say? It says that suppose you have taken a particular point in a fluid, or you have taken a particular fluid element, like imaginary fluid element you have taken. So at that fluid element, pressure in all the directions will be same. So what does it say? It says that, where should I write? I'll write it here. What does it say? It says that pressure at a point in a static fluid, that is very important point because it is valid when the fluid is at rest. Pressure at a particular point in a static fluid is equal in all the directions. And this is a very important law because based on this many applications are there. For example, one very common example to look at it is hydraulic press, where you apply a little force in one direction of a, there is a set of arrangement in which, so it looks something like this. It looks something like this, that is, this sort of arrangement is there where on one side cross sectional area is less and on one side cross sectional area is more. So this kind of hydraulic press is there. It is used to lift heavier objects. For example, I have kept a very heavy weight here, W, and I am applying a force here. So with a little force you can lift very heavy objects. This is an application of Pascal's law. So what does it do? Suppose the area of cross section here is a small a and here it is capital A. Definitely capital A is much larger than small a. So if you look at this particular point and this particular point, so they are in the same plane, same horizontal plane they are in. So they are in the same horizontal plane. Now if you look at this particular point, the pressure that is there from, even if you look here, the pressure will be how much? F by A, because it is normal compressive force per unit area. So this is the pressure. Same pressure will be transmitted throughout the fluid in the equally in all the directions. And what is the force that you will be able to lift is what? P into capital A. This is the force that you will be able to lift. Now please note, this number will be very big because small a is very less and denominator is very less, so overall quantity will become very big. And through this application we are able to lift heavier objects by application of small force. This is nothing but the application of Pascal's law. So pressure, what does it say? In a static fluid, pressure at a particular point will be transmitted equally in all the directions. That is Pascal's law. Now, quickly we will move. So here you note down, that means pressure at a particular point is same in all the directions. Suppose I am talking in Cartesian coordinate system. So in x direction, y direction and z direction, pressure will be transmitted equally. That is what I am trying to say. Okay, now here one more other law, that is hydrostatic law. Hydrostatic law tells you about the variation of pressure with depth. So what does it say? Variation of pressure with depth. With the help of these two laws, we can cover whole of the pressure problems. So how does it tell about a variation of the pressure with depth? So suppose you have a fluid in this container and you imagine a fluid element. So basically this is not a external object or anything, it's not any other body, it is nothing but a fluid element I have considered here. So what I am trying to do here is, let's say this is the positive direction, that means I am assuming downward direction as positive. In this direction when I go, it is positive. Let's say, let's name this element A, B, C, D. Let's say the area, if I imagine it in 3D, it will be like this. So this area, it's a cube. Let's say the area of this cube is dA, surface area. So what will be the pressure? Let's say P. If you look in this direction, like all around, fluid will exert some pressure on this particular fluid element. So from here, pressure will be in this direction, because on any surface, pressure will be normal compressive force per unit area. So for this particular surface, which is just below this surface, what will be the pressure in this direction? And here in this direction, it is always a compressive force. So that is why. Now if you look at this particular block or this particular element of fluid, this is a fluid element only. So if you look at this, you can see that the horizontal forces will cancel out each other. Okay, the horizontal forces will be cancelling out each other. But if you see this particular section, the top and the bottom section, and you assume that the height of this cube is dz, so what will you observe? That the pressure here will be dou p by dou z into dz. This will be the pressure here. That means when I am assuming the variation of pressure with the depth, because in the same plane pressure will not vary, that means on this block pressure here and here will be same, here also it will be same. But if you talk about point number 1 and point number 2, pressure will be varying. So how does it vary? That is what we are observing. So how do we know? We have taken a differential element of depth dz, and I am assuming the variation of pressure as dou p by dou z into dz. So this is the change in pressure This is the rate of change into what is the depth. So I am taking the change in the pressure, P plus delta P. That is what I am trying to say here. Now if you try to balance out the forces in this particular thing, so what we'll find out, the force here, if you try to balance the forces, it will be P into delta A minus P plus dou P by dou Z into dZ into dA. So that will be the net force. But here one more force we have forgotten to take, that is the weight of this particular fluid element. So let's say W is the weight of this element in the downward direction. W is the weight. So again, considering the downward direction as positive, I will write here plus, what is the weight? So basically what is the weight here? Weight is nothing but m into g. And what is mass? Mass can be written as rho into volume because density is mass per unit volume. Rho into V into G, that is how I can write. So I have just equated the forces. The net force on this particular element should be 0. Why? Because the fluid is at rest. So net force should be 0. Okay. So this is small p only. So this P delta A will cancel out. So what will be left? Dou P by dou Z into dz into dA plus rho g. What is the volume of this particular fluid element? dA into dz. Okay, dA into dz. From here dA can be removed. From here dA and dz can be removed. So now what will I get? Dou P by dou Z is equals to minus rho g. Now here this is a very important conclusion. What does it say? It says that what does it say? Here, one second, I have taken one mistake. Here, I have done a simple. Okay, this will be plus. Yes, because it will go here, so it will be plus. dz, dA will cancel out. So, this is the variation of pressure with respect to depth. Now, if I have not taken this, I want to know the pressure variation with depth. If it is coming out to be 0, if for example, if it was a case where dou P by dou Z was coming out to be 0, I can simply conclude that pressure is not at all varying with depth. But here I got the variation as rho g. And what is this rho g? I have seen this term before also. It is nothing but the specific weight or the unit weight of the fluid. Rho is what? Rho is nothing but the density of the fluid. Here rho is the density of the fluid. So what I have done, I have taken a fluid element and I have tried to balance out the forces on this particular fluid element in the vertical direction, because horizontal components will anyway cancel each other. Because I know from Pascal's law, horizontally there is no particular variation. At a particular point, suppose this is a horizontal plane in a fluid. This is a horizontal plane in a fluid. Let's say I have drawn a tank. Okay, so on this plane, pressure at all points will be same. At a particular point, pressure is same in all the directions. So at this particular point, pressure will be same in this direction. So at this point also, pressure will be same in the horizontal direction. So it is like that. Vertically or with depth, as if the point moves vertically, if this plane moves, then there will be pressure variation. And how much? It is rho g. So now you can write down, what does it say? Hydrostatic law says that pressure varies with depth. And how does it vary? It increases as the depth at which we are measuring increases. Pressure increases. And one more important point, what is the increase? The rate of increase. At what rate it is increasing? The rate of increase of pressure in vertical direction so the rate of increase of pressure in vertical direction is nothing but is equal to the unit weight of fluid at that point. So three important points I have concluded. First important point is pressure is showing some variation with respect to depth. What does it mean? It means that pressure changes with depth changes, means there is a change in the pressure with the change in the depth. That is a simple meaning. And what is that change? It increases as the depth increases. Okay, then what is the rate at which it is increasing? The rate is rho g. The rate of increase of pressure in the vertical direction, assuming that you are assuming, see, very important point that is to be noted here is, as you go downward direction you are taking plus sign as, you are assuming downward direction positive. If you take downward direction negative, it will be coming out to be minus rho g. So that you should remember. In some books it will be minus rho g, so you should not confuse. They have taken another sign convention and it is completely okay to assume any sign convention. The ultimate meaning should be same. So using this expression and the Pascal's law, there are lot of problems that can be solved based on this concept. Suppose this is a free surface and I want to know the pressure at this particular depth. So let's say this depth is Z. Not Z, let's say this is H. So I know that dou P by dou Z is equals to rho G. If I take this there to the right hand side, and now if I integrate it from 0 to P, let's say at this particular point I want to know the pressure, and here the pressure is 0. Actually it is not 0, it is atmospheric pressure, but let me consider only gauge pressure. So here what is gauge pressure? Again, gauge pressure is the pressure which is measured above the atmospheric pressure. So this should be very clear. Atmospheric pressure is that pressure which is exerted by atmosphere on us. Gauge pressure is the pressure which is excess to atmospheric pressure. For example, atmospheric pressure at a particular place is 2 atm and I'll say gauge pressure is 3 atm. So what does that mean? That total pressure in that particular point, the total pressure is 5 atm. So that is what it means. That it means that gauge pressure is how much access to atmospheric pressure. Already this much atmospheric pressure is there. Above that 3 atms of another pressure is acting. So the total will be gauge plus atmospheric. And this is also called as absolute pressure. This is also called as absolute pressure. If this is negative, so one more thing that to be noted is, if this is negative, that means pressure is below the atmospheric pressure. And if it is positive, if the gauge pressure is positive, it means pressure is above the atmospheric pressure. So it is nothing but change of reference. When you consider atmosphere is as a reference, or when you consider atmospheric as the datum, then you call gauge pressure. As simple as that. So I'll just integrate this equation. When I integrate it from 0 to P, and this height 0 to h. So what will I get here? P is equals to rho GH. This is a very important conclusion that I can make from hydrostatic law, and using this I can find the pressure at any height h. At any height h in the liquid, find out the pressure, it will be equal to rho GH. Now, based on this, I will be solving very basic numericals. So for example, first let me take one problem based on Pascal's law and then quickly on hydrostatic law. So the problem is, calculate the pressure due to a column of 0.3 meters of water. It can be given for any fluid also, it's just you should know the density of that fluid. So here density of water you already know at the standard condition, it is 1000 kilogram per meter cube. So there is a column in which height of the water is 0.3 meters. So here what you can see that what will be the pressure due to this much height. So you know pressure is equals to rho GH. So that is where H is nothing but the height at which you are measuring the pressure. So you are measuring the pressure here. What is the height of the liquid above it? It is nothing but 0.3 meters. So what will be the pressure? Pressure will be rho GH, and rho is nothing but 1000. G is 9.81 and height is 0.3. So here very easily you can find out the pressure. It will be 2943 Newton per meter square. Like that, if I would have given 0.3 meter of mercury, you just have to replace this density here with the mercury density, and then height will be this, whatever height is given. So this is nothing but an application of hydrostatic law, where you can find out the pressure at any particular point, and then you have to see what is the height of the fluid above it. So basically it is acting like a weight. It is acting as a weight. So if more height is there, then more is the pressure at this particular time point. So that is the thing. Now again we'll solve one more numerical quickly on Pascal's law. So what is Pascal's law? Pressure at any particular point remain constant in all the direction. So let's say we have a hydraulic press. So it looks something like this. So diagram is a little bit off the track. I hope you guys are able to get the feel. So here I am applying a force F, and this is the plunger. Piston plunger arrangement is there, and here I am trying to lift a heavy objects. Basically in mechanics or with car workshops and all, you can see that they will be washing the car by lifting the car. So how they are able to lift such heavy car? So they apply there, this arrangement is there of hydraulic press. So what they will be doing, applying some little force and able to lift a heavier object or heavier weight. So here the diameter of this particular, it is cylindrical basically. So the diameter here is 4.5 centimeter of the plunger, and this portion is nothing but ram. Here the diameter capital D is 30 centimeter, and force of 500 Newton is applied. Question is asking how much weight we can lift here. What is the W value? How much weight I can lift by applying a force of 500 Newton in this arrangement, and the fluid with which it is filled. So here there is a fluid with which it is filled. One very important thing that you should know is the fluid here which has to be filled should be incompressible. That means there should not be any volume change. If there is any volume change, what will happen? The pressure distribution will not be uniform, because some force will go in changing the volume of the fluid. But here I am assuming no force is utilized in changing the volume of the fluid. Now, so if you look at what is the pressure intensity here, it will be F by small a, pressure intensity P1. And the same intensity of pressure will be here, P2. So P2 is nothing but W by capital A. And both the pressures I can equate because pressure intensity is same in all the direction. So if you look at this particular point and if you look at this particular point, pressure intensity will be same. Fluid is same. Horizontal plane it is. Level is also same. So what you have to do here is P1 is nothing but F is 500 Newton. Area is pi by 4 d square. So you just calculate this value. What you will get? Put the value of d as 4.5 centimeter. You convert it into meters. So it will be 500 divided by pi by 4 into 0.045 square. And this pressure intensity is equal to P2. P2 is nothing but W divided by pi by 4. This is how much? 30 centimeters, so 0.3 square. And when you equate these P1 and P2, so you write as per the Pascal's law, P1 should be equal to P2. P1 should be equal to P2. So what will you get? W by pi by 4 into 0.3 square is equal to 500 divided by pi by 4 into 0.045 square. So this pi by 4 cancel out. When you will solve it, you will get W value as 222 kilonewton. Sorry, Newton. So you just see, you just try to observe the final answer with the application of 500 Newton force. Here you have applied 500 Newton force. You are able to lift this much force. That is nothing but 222.22 kilonewton, which is very larger than what you have applied. So here with this application you can understand with the help of Pascal's law there are many applications of this in fluid mechanics. Particularly in this problem we have discussed the hydraulic lift or hydraulic press. So I hope these two basic problems you are able to understand, and then if there is any doubt please post in the comment section. We are discussing very basic level problems at very beginners level, so I hope you guys understand that. And then thank you so much for watching. Next video we will be covering pressure measurement. So measurement of pressure with the help of a piezometer and manometer, on that part we will be focusing. So today we have covered this much part. Thank you for watching.